Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow athletes. I'm truly honored to be here today as your moderator for this incredibly important panel discussion titled Freedom of Expression, Conversations Among Athletes. This event emerged from a conversation between myself and Chisani West, where we recognized the need for a safe and inclusive platform for athletes to share their perspectives on various topics. Today, we have the privilege of delving into crucial themes such as the intersection of race, religion, gender, and more within the world of sports. Our esteemed panelists to my left will be sharing their unique experiences, shedding light on the challenges they face, and offering insights that extend far beyond the athletic arena. We believe that by opening up these conversations, we can bridge gaps of understanding and create a space where voices from all walks of life can be heard and valued. Through this dialogue, we hope to foster a greater sense of empathy, respect, and unity among athletes and those who support them. Without further ado, let's embark on this enlightening journey of discussion and discovery. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists, and let's engage in these important conversations together. Thank you. All right, so first up we have Amari Johnson. Allow me to introduce her, a true standout in both academics and athletics, hailing from Adelphi's women's track and field team. Amari boasts an impressive list of honors, including NE10 Rookie of the Week. Her achievements extend beyond the track with consistent inclusion on the NE10 Academic Honor Roll, along with an All-Academic Award as she achieved the NCAA Provisional Standard last outdoor while maintaining a solid GPA in the classroom. Thus far in her career, Johnson has earned multiple medals within the 60 and 100-meter hurdle disciplines. One of her remarkable achievements, however, is holding the school record in the 100-meter hurdles with a time of 14.19 seconds. Next, we have Courtney Wengren, a standout athlete, a part of the softball team here at AU. Courtney's achievements, including being named to the CSC Academic All-America Third Team and earning NFCA First Team All-Region honors, reflect her exceptional dedication to both academics and athletics. In the 2023 season, Courtney led her team in hits, doubles, RBIs, and total bases, earning well-deserved recognition as NFCA National Player of the Week. Her performance on and off the field is truly exemplary. Following her, we have Frank Jenna, a standout scholar athlete at AU with a consistent presence on the NE10 Academic Honor Roll. He excels both in academics and athletics. In the 2022-2023 season, Frank demonstrated exceptional versatility, competing in 10 meets as the lone men's diver. At the NE10 championship meet, he achieved a remarkable score of 232.9 on the 1-meter board, along with 3 personal bests and a season high in the 50 freestyle. Out of the pool, Frank plays a crucial role as a member of the SAC E-board, overseeing publicity, and leads as captain of the men's swim and dive team. Next, we have Sunle Selmegile, a rising star in collegiate tennis. Last season, she made a remarkable debut at the ITAs, securing the Division II East Region Singles title without dropping a set. This accomplishment crowned her as the East Region's top-ranked player. Her achievements extend beyond the court, earning her the NE10 Rookie of the Year title and a spot on the NE10 Academic Honor Roll with academic excellence. As SAC president, Sanle exhibits outstanding leadership. Hailing from Stabekk, Norway, she brings a global perspective to her pursuits and this conversation today. And last but not least, we have Brian Kambari, another scholar athlete who excels both in the classroom and on the track. With honors including NE10 Academic All-Conference and the D2 ADA Academic Achievement Award, Brian's dedication to academic excellence is undeniable. As a member of the track and field team, Brian demonstrates leadership and exceptional athletic prowess, as he has also been an NE10 conference scorer since his freshman year. In addition to his academic achievements, he has consistently earned a place on the NE10 Academic Honor Roll with distinctions for his outstanding performance. So you guys can just give him a hand. Yeah. Honestly, I'm Bryce Ridley at track and field. All right. So we're going to get this conversation started. Before we get started, we want to let everyone know that this is a respectful environment. We're going to touch on a lot of different topics here today. So we already had a discussion before. So yeah, just join us on this. All right. So opening up to the panel, being a student athlete is no easy task. So how do you all balance the demands of being a student and also an athlete? And we can start with you, Amari.
Well, personally, I've been a student and an athlete since I was maybe in middle school. So having that balance really keeps me focused. When I'm in the off season of track towards the end of the school year, I can really find myself getting a little lazy. So being a student and an athlete really keeps me in shape and really keeps me in check, especially with a major as nursing, which is really rigorous and really needs to have some type of organization. So, yeah.
For me, I think the hardest thing about dealing with academics and athletics is managing your time. So I'm a senior, so I found through my going on 4 years here that learning that when you have a little bit of time to really work on your academics helps you a lot. And also nothing really prepares you for college athletics. I can speak from experience that high school definitely is not the same. College is much more time consuming, has a lot more commitment. But I think just learning to manage your time and also taking time for yourself and working on making sure you're mentally healthy really plays an important role.
After being in my sport for sort of over a decade now, you learn that it's both an honor and a privilege to get to do your sport at the collegiate level. You see how not only it's a change from going into high school into college, you're now part of a family more or less than just your high school team. I became a family when I came to the school with other teams, other teammates, other people in the classroom, and it's so great being able to balance your time in and out of the classroom as well as changing as a person, learning more about yourself through college sports, through the classroom in college. Very different, and once again, it's a pleasure and an honor.
I've been going to sports school like even before I came to college as an athlete, so I was kind of like used to balancing it out for quite a long time. But I've found that my sport actually kind of helps me balancing or prioritizing and knowing what to spend time on and being more efficient. So I'm very happy about that, and also about thinking about one thing at a time. Like always have your full attention and focus to what you're doing, the task at hand, and then moving on to something else.
So definitely the shift from high school to college, you realize that you're surrounding yourself with athletes that are just as focused, structured, and disciplined as you, which is a big difference from going from high school to college. And for me personally, I'm a highly structured person. So having sports kind of helps me be more disciplined and kind of have a laid out plan and schedule of how I want to execute my practice, execute academics, and kind of have a good, solid athlete and academic balance in life. So I really like coming to college. I really appreciate that I'm surrounded by other people who are just as focused as me. Kind of helps me stay disciplined myself and keeps me kind of in a highly structured manner.
Yeah, thank you guys. So also just focusing on like the athletic aspect of things. Before like a meet, a game, a match, how do you get yourself focused? How do you get yourself in that mode to compete?
Okay, so before a meet, I try not to really think too much. I know that sounds crazy, but like I want all thoughts out of my head. I rarely listen to music, so I sleep on the bus to meets. When I get there, it's time to lock in. I know that, so no distractions, no anything. I focus focus on the task at hand, and that really helps me execute the best I can on race day.
For me, kind of similar to Amari, I don't really have like a set thing that I do. Me and my teammates will always go to Three Suns before a home game, and that's kind of like not tradition, but like something that I know is like something that we do, which helps me get ready for the game. And I like having a set thing to do, if that makes sense. So knowing that like we have to get there at the same time, knowing what we have to do. So our warm up, we usually get there 2 hours before. So knowing we get there 2 hours before, knowing what I do, knowing where our bats go and where our helmets go, kind of gets ready for the game. And also knowing who we play helps me feel prepared. So like we always scout a team before we play them, and just really knowing our opponent and how to attack them and play our best.
regarding being prepared and most set up for our athletic events in whatever respect they may be, which is different here for each of us, most of you may be similar, but game day should be the easiest day. Preparation, we are here every single day, 2-3 times a day, practicing our sports, trying to get ready to compete at the highest level. So preparing is getting your every day, being part of your team, making sure that everybody else is on the same page as you. Being a captain of my team, it was such a high responsibility and such a privilege to get everybody on the same page as me and working every single day, getting better and better and better so that game day could be the easiest it could be. Because at the end of the day, we're showing what we're made of. We're showing what we put all this work into, hours and hours a day, hundreds of hours over a season, just for that. So preparation is every day. It's not just game day.
For me, it's a bit about the routine of a game day to get me really in the mood for the match. So I always start my day with like breakfast. Because breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Make myself the oatmeal, always oatmeal. Try to relax as much as I can. For me, it's with music. And then right before, I try to like gear up with my team so that we feel like one team going onto the court. So our team always does Uno, which gets highly competitive against each other, unfortunately. But it always gears us all up and then get in a match mode.
When it comes to like a meet day, I kind of just go into it like another day. Every day I practice, we always have a specific routine when we warm up, and I always try to execute that warm up every day to a T. So when I come to a meet, it's just like another habit that I do every single day. Usually in the bus ride, I do like to lock in, put in some music, and kind of just relax because I like to calm my nerves. It's kind of act like it's just another day, it's just another meet. So I don't really take the competition as something to be anxious for. I kind of just see it as, I get the chance to represent what I did in practice and to showcase what I was trying to practice for every single day. And honestly, I have this little habit every day or every meet before a race. I have a bag of Skittles, so I shake up a bag of Skittles, pop a couple of Skittles, and I guess it just always works for me. So I enjoy that.
Okay, and I think like what you said was pretty interesting. Like, it's not necessarily something different that you do on competition. It's kind of something that you instill throughout the season. And then once competition comes, it's like all the hard work that I put in I'm here to like show it now. I think for me personally, something that I do every day, I pray. That's just me. And when I go to competition or I go to a meet for my race or anything like that, prayer is like an absolute must for me. I know I pray like with my relay sometimes, and I'm going to segue into that. Religion. Mari, I know we spoke briefly about Christianity specifically. How important is faith in your athletic life?
Faith is quite important to me because I know that I shouldn't be anxious. My favorite Bible verse, Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious, bring it all to the Lord. So that's just really what I try to remind myself of every day in practice. Every meet I have no reason to be anxious because there's no reason to be anxious. Like Bryce, I pray every day, and then before a meet, I pray specifically for like over my body and over my health, just so I can execute the best way I can on the track and off the track as well.
Yeah, and now that we're on the topic of religion, I just want to set up a scenario for everyone in the room and also the panel. So there was an incident that occurred in like 2015. A football coach, he was praying after every football game on the field. He eventually lost his job because of that. And then the Supreme Court came later and said, okay, he is allowed to do that. But at that point, he already resigned. So when we talk about things such as like something like that, and social justice in general, how can athletes use their platform to address social issues, or should we? Like, what do you guys think about that? We could start with Brian. We could start with that.
I'd say that athletes are individuals themselves. They all have their own personal beliefs, their own personal cultures and things that they believe in. So I believe that they should use their platform as a way to kind of represent themselves, to truly be able to express themselves and kind of be themselves as athletes and as individuals. I feel like when we are actually at the game, at a meet, at a competition, we use it as a way to kind of connect as individuals to kind of have a common ground to compete against each other, so that when we come outside, we can be like, oh, these are all individuals that I get to compete with, people that I can really respect and find common ground with.
I'd like to add on to that because I think you hit the nail right on the head. And just adding on moving forward, we all worked to get to where we are, and it's nice to be given the opportunity to. We have a platform to say what we believe in. We have an outlet to put out what we think. And there's a time and a place to say what's on your mind all the time. But it's a gift that we actually get to go out there and we have people supporting us and backing us, that we get to put our beliefs out there to be mainstreamed, to be seen for crowds of people. And it's a way to actually fight for things that are important to you. Like for faith, I came from a Catholic school. We prayed before every single meet. We had a team group prayer. And if somebody tried to take that away from us, we have the power to back it up and to share what we think. And people will stand behind us and help us move forward in whatever we believe. And I think it's really nice that in sports we have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Did anyone else want to?
Just going off what Frank said, I agree. I think that it's a privilege to be a student athlete, and that if you have a platform, you should use it. I also think, obviously, with respect and be respectful, because if you're giving your opinion and your belief on something, you obviously wouldn't want to get hate for it, so don't give other people hate. So I think you should use your platform, stand up for what you believe in, because it's your opinion, your belief, just as long as it's in a respectful way.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. I'm glad that you brought up respect and feeling respected, because when we speak about things like transgender athletes in sports, or we speak about kneeling for the flag, there's a lot of controversial opinions, and well, that's a controversial topic, but there are a lot of differing opinions when it comes to that. So how can we ensure that everyone feels like they're heard but also respected at the same time?
I think a way that we can have everyone heard and respected is by listening, and not just listening, but actively listening and understanding where they're coming from. You don't have to agree, but disagreeing might not be the right way to go. You can listen to them and see their point of view, because everyone really isn't going to have the same opinion as you, and that's okay because everyone is unique. So I feel like actively listening and really taking what they say and internalize it, and if you want to comment, but be respectful, like you guys said, at the same time, is really a way we can have everyone feel heard and respected.
I kind of want to add on to that. It's also about creating safe spaces for everyone to do this, such as this debate itself, or just having an opportunity to share everything in a group like this.
Yeah.
I also believe that having conversations with like different individuals kind of really help you understand their perspective, and actually listening to them, as Murray started listening to them, and also having like real conversations and finding compromise with those people. That if you really like have one-on-one conversations, be able to go out of your way to listen and compromise, that's always a way to kind of help bridge the gap between different controversies and opinions.
I'd like to start out firstly with, there are three sides to everything that ever happens. There's, what did happen, what you think happened, what I think happened. And regardless of what topic someone may be on, I think it's super important not to hastily rush to conclusions. Because whatever the controversy may be, whether I or anybody supports it or doesn't, I feel like what we need to do, adding on to what you were going on, you need to listen, actively listen to things that are being said, and not just rush quickly to go back at somebody, but to understand and empathize. And I think that's what's so important, especially in the field that we're in our respective sports, to sit back and if somebody has something to say, to respectively listen and be able to add on and appreciate what they have and what their message is.
Yeah, you guys all pretty much hit that right on the nail. But it kind of goes into my next question. When we look at like sports and professionals, let's focus on that for a second. There's a lot of public scrutiny when people decide to exercise their right to freedom of expression. So when we have that, or media turning things or whatever the case may be, how do you think athletes should deal with that? Like the outside community or outside world just having so much to say about something that you might have spoken about. Does anyone want to try and take that on?
Okay, loaded question, but
Yeah.
like we were talking about listening, I also feel like if you want to use your platform to say something or to speak about something, make sure that you're educated on it because that goes a long way. Some people just want to speak on things and or just want to speak on it just to say, "Oh, I spoke on this, oh, I spoke on that." But that's why some people get backlash or whatever and they don't know how to handle that. So I feel like a way athletes can use their platform and should use their platform is to first be educated on it. And if you don't know anything, ask someone who does know something or do your own research and really get to know what is actually going on so you can speak on it effectively.
I think going off of what Amari said, that really knowing that you have, like she said, all the facts and to not just react once you hear something. Like I know it's easy that once you read something that could be very biased and then just to go on social media, put it on blast, saying your opinion when you don't know all the facts could be really harmful and do more harm than good. So I think it's really knowing both sides of the story. Like Frank said, there's three sides. So trying to get from what you know the most of what the truth is, and then from there going back to being respectful and then putting out your opinion. And because I think, like I said before, it really is a privilege for what we have and to be able to get our message across. So I think as long as you have both sides of the story.
I also believe when like dealing with the scrutiny as like a professional that if you are in that position, that having a solid backbone is always a great trait to have because no matter how much information you gather, how much you know about your specific topic, when it comes to media, they're always trying to get you. Usually, there's going to be people with different opinions and people who want to kind of put you down. So having the solid backbone and knowing what you're saying is true, and knowing that people may not always respect you or kind of listen to you, and being able to just pass that along, pass that off, is always a great trait to have.
You know, I do think it's super important to just be aware of the power, whether it be good or bad, with social media, because we've seen both sides to this. We've seen social media be terrible and things be misconstrued and put in the wrong direction, which is terrible. But also, even as an example here, we see how powerful social media can be and media in general for us on a smaller level, you know, and being able to publicize what we do and have publicity back us up. It's so nice to see both sides, as long as you're aware of the power both sides have. Awareness is key here, I think.
Absolutely. I want to change gears a little bit and speak about gender in sports. So how do you all feel about how do you navigate conversations or situations where gender stereotypes or biases may come to play in your athletic community? Because they are there. So as long as we acknowledge that as well, I think that's important. I don't know who wants to take that first.
I can start.
Okay.
So for me personally, obviously being a woman in sports, I've heard it all. I've heard the fact that women's sports are more boring and they're not as good as men's, and that, you know, obviously there's a whole thing with equal pay and that men's sports get more performance and more people to come. But I think that, especially, like I said, being a woman in a sport is knowing that like we also can do and perform just as much as any of the male sports. And I think it really should be more known. And it's also using my platform to kind of bring more awareness to it, and also doing whatever I can to get more people to come to our games. Because when we look in the stands for softball, like it's literally just our parents. So just kind of like using my platform and using me to bring awareness to it. And I don't know if anybody wants to piggyback off that.
Yeah.
I would also like to add, also this kind of sounds strange, but be difficult sometimes. If you hear someone say something that is not right, actually say something against it. And I think it can be hard. It's hard when some people say something that you disagree with, but it might be even harder when it's actually your friends saying something that you disagree with or someone you like. But I think just having those difficult conversations, again, in a respectful manner, can do so much more than what people think. Yeah.
I also feel it's always good to like publicize and always get excited for like those women in life that you know are in sports, and to kind of like bring that awareness to other people and show them that women's sports are great. I have a little sister, shout out Matilda. She's she plays basketball and she runs track and field, and I like to think that she looks up to me a little bit. So seeing her be an athlete, have fun doing her sports, and really like find compassion in what she's doing, that really makes me realize like women are like obviously women deserve the same sort of appreciation, same sort of respect when it comes to what they do. So I definitely think that publicity, being excited, and then show them the same respect that men may get as well is very important.
You know, I think it's we're making great steps in the right direction, coming from such a history of men being so up forward in sports and being the main category. And even so much like for me in particular, I went to an all boys high school. I wasn't around women's sports very much so until I got here. And when I got here, swimming particularly, I never got to actually see how, sure, guys can be faster at times, but I've seen these girls work harder than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Some of these girls that are here every day that show up to the pool at 4:30 every single morning and do the same things that we're doing. And it's nice to see them get the same people show up in the crowds to cheer for them. It's nice to see all over our social medias us our team together, not as just a men's team and a women's team, but as a swim team here at Adelphi. And I think it's nice that we have that here as a nice community, a group together. And I never got that. And I really think it brought me to a whole different perspective, being able to see that here in college.
Yeah. And I think that's really important that you were able to humble yourself and acknowledge the fact that, hey, like I wasn't always around women's sports, and I might have had my own biases towards women in sports at that point. But acknowledging that is definitely a step. And I think also on a collegiate level, I mean, it's easy to acknowledge, okay, WNBA versus NBA, financial disparities, things like that. But right now, like where we are in our own community, like make sure you go to the women's sports games and support men's sports. Everybody just support all of our athletes. I think that's the goal that we need to, make sure we reach. So yeah.
Not for nothing. I was never a baseball fan, but I've never seen an Adelphi crowd get more insane than a women's softball game.
Yeah. That's really true. So I'm gonna go into culture in sports, and Sunday, I'll give this question to you. As we're speaking about this idea of self-identity, and we were speaking about gender a little bit, can you share a little bit about your personal journey and experiences as a student athlete, or as an international student athlete?
Well, yeah, it's a bit different coming as an international student than, being an American student. I think with the cultural differences and such as like how to communicate, for example, or even just the relationship between coach and athlete can look different in different countries and everything. I think I was lucky to come on a team. For the people who doesn't know the tennis team, we're 6 international students. So I feel like that kind of evened it out for everyone, that it wasn't just Americans there. But yeah, I think as long as you communicate properly and be respectful and understand that everyone is coming from different backgrounds, I feel like that can go a long way. Yeah. And I must say that in general, Americans coming here, now I generalize a lot, but Americans are very welcoming, or have been at least, very interested. And that has helped a lot and kind of opened me also up to being more interested in others and being more. Yeah.
And just a quick follow-up. So what would your advice be to maybe a younger athlete that is going into their collegiate career that could be coming from a different country? Because I know it's probably not the easiest thing to walk into. So what would your advice be for them, going into a new environment like that?
I think be open, understand from the get-go that it's going to be a bit different, but that it's possible to overcome those differences if you kind of communicate how you feel and how they feel, or everyone else communicates how they feel, then you can create hopefully a good bond that will last.
Awesome. And Brian, do you mind touching a little bit on Burkina Faso and what that means to you?
Yeah, so I didn't really grow up in Burkina Faso, but it's a country I was born in. It's a country my family is from, and I tend to get this weird kind of blank look whenever I tell them I'm from Africa. I'm from Burkina Faso. And they're like, what is that? Where is that? And I'm like, it's a Western African country that's like around like Nigeria, Senegal, and it tends to be like underrepresented. So I kind of use that as a way to kind of like push myself to kind of boast my culture and kind of really perform to the best of my ability, because having this country, having this background of my family to represent, I kind of use that as really a catalyst for me to practice and to give me drive every single day. I recently just got a tattoo on my calf, kind of representing that country too. It's a white horse, which is the national animal of the country. So I just really like to show that my country is also there, it exists, and that I really am supportive of it.
Yeah, and kind of like what Same said, as far as acknowledging that everyone comes from different backgrounds. When we speak about initiatives or groups that kind of push for that, I just want to bring up Rise. We're actually gonna, as a SAC DEI head, we're actually gonna start working with them, and they kind of are like the perfect group for that. Like just advocating for making sure that everyone's treated fairly and making sure like we acknowledge race, we acknowledge ethnicity, because those things are important when it comes to athletes. We're not just here to compete for a school or compete for a team. We have to acknowledge the human side of us as well. So I think, you guys give some really good insight on that. But also, you guys are up here as leaders on your teams, leaders in the Adelphi community, leaders in life. So I just want to touch on leadership a little bit. And Frank, I'll direct this question to you. How do you balance the responsibilities of being a representative or role model for your community while managing your athletic pursuits?
It's a good question. It's a whole different game when you take a step back and look at it, because it really is an honor to be named a leader because of the things you've done in the past. When I came in as a freshman, I put my head down, I got my work done, I swam my rear end off and kept moving and moving and moving. And on top of that, as a freshman, I stepped and wanted to join SAC and wanted to join clubs and try to get as involved as I can. And all at the same time, trying to take care of my teammates, my fellow freshmen that were coming in. And I naturally stepped up and helped everybody get through the first season and the first semester of college. And it was evident to my coaches, to my friends, that I naturally took that position. So as time went on, my coach had a vote and he said, Frank, I need you to step up and be captain next year. I think that you'd be right for the position. I think that everybody naturally looks up to you. And now as time went on, last year we had no divers on the swim team. We had nobody, and we didn't know what to do. We were losing points on every meet. And I said, guys, I'll take it from here. I'll swim and I'll jump on the diving board. I'll get us some points. I'll take care of it. And everybody supported me. It was nice to see the people that looked up to me support me doing something new. Mm-hmm. And now every day coming into the pool, people ask me for advice. People ask me for help. And it's nice to have a separation of power where it's I can put my head down and have people support me and help me when I need it. But when anybody needs help on my team or anybody needs help at school, it's easy to come talk to me and ask for anything that they need. And I appreciate that everybody gives me that respect and gets that respect from me on top of it.
Okay. And Courtney, I want to direct this to you. When we're talking about leadership, I know you have a pivotal role in Morgan's Message. So do you mind just telling us a little bit about it and its mission and how it got started at Adelphi?
Yes. Okay. So if you know anything about me, it's that this is probably one of my favorite topics to talk about. So Morgan's Message is a nonprofit organization, and the backstory of it is there was this girl, Morgan Rogers, and in 2017 she played lacrosse. She had a fatal knee injury, had a year of recovery, and during that year she struggled a lot, was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and a lot of mental health disorders. And then in 2019, unfortunately, she ended up taking her life. She played at Duke lacrosse, she played at Duke, played lacrosse. And so her family started this organization called Morgan's Message. And it's basically, you could bring it to your school. It could be any high school, any college. And I heard about this through social media. It came up on my Instagram one time. And I looked into it and I was like, this is something that I want to bring to Adelphi. So this was my sophomore year. And I didn't really know how to start it myself. So I also heard of Andrew Delaney on men's basketball. He was putting around this petition to get a sports psychologist. So I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to talk to Andrew, meet up with him, see if we could start something, kind of change it for the better, and just kind of see what we can do. So met up with Andrew, we talked about it, brought Morgan's Message here. We're going on our second year now, which is really cool. We had a very successful first year. And basically our mission is just to equalize the treatment of physical and mental health. So we hold meetings once a month. We really want to advocate for student-athlete mental health because obviously being athletes ourselves, we know the struggle we go through and how much pressure we're put under and performance anxiety and all the 9 yards of the categories that we fall under. So I think my main goal is to kind of let people know that you're not alone. And I know it's cliche and everybody says it, but really kind of diving deep into taking action on it, because people can say like, oh, I'm here for you. Like, if you need me, I'm here. But then when you really need them, kind of turn the other way and be like, that's not my problem. So I want to turn that and start making a change. And I think what we've been doing is really good so far. If you want to be a part of Morgan's Message, you can. We hold meetings once a month, and we do dedication games. We have resources on campus, and it's pretty much the gist of it, and just really focusing on student-athlete mental health and how important it is, and kind of changing it for the better and just being better people.
Thank you, Courtney. And we're going to stay here on mental health for a little bit. For the panel, how do you find motivation and stay committed to your sport in times of low motivation or burnout or injury or anything like that? It's open for anyone.
I'll speak on this. What was the question? Sorry.
It's okay. What role does mental health play on your athletic performance or during times of motivation?
Okay, so everyone who runs track here, you know, those pre-race nerves, pre-race or pre-meet anxiety is terrible. It's terrible. But one thing that really helps me is I know that I'm not alone in it. Like, I know that I look to my left, I look to my right, lanes 2 and 4. Lanes 2 and 4, like, they're going through the same thing. Like, I'm not the only one who's like nervous. And my teammates, I asked, like, if we're on a reel, I'm like, oh, y'all good? Let's take a deep breath together. I know that I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. That's one thing that really helps me. Another thing is I have to calm down sometimes. Like, sometimes I hype my own self up. I'm like, oh, what if I hit this hurdle? Oh, what if I hit that hurdle? I just have to sit back. I have to trust myself, trust my training, take a deep breath. And like I said before, when I have no thoughts in my head, that's really how I manage it and really how I just get through it and go through the race. Yeah.
I think that, you know, that was perfect. And it was nice to hear from a different sports point of view how mental health is so important. For us, we've had so much with Morgan's Message with it. Mental health is becoming such a proficient part of our community here, which is outstanding. And it got me to thinking about my sport in particular and outside of my sport, because mental health is everything, because we're coming here every single day. We're balancing our classes, we're balancing friendships, we're balancing athletics, most of us are balancing jobs on top of everything too. And there's a time, usually midway through the season, where you hit a wall and you don't know what to do because your papers are piling up, assignments are coming through, you have swim meets or track meets or basketball games or whatever the case may be. And you're realizing, hey, I'm putting 4 or 5 hours a day into my sport. I'm putting 5, 6, 7 hours into my academics, and then I have stuff on top of it. And you could get into a hole and you don't know what to do. And the goal for yourself and for everybody is that you don't want to let yourself get stuck in that hole and not know how to get out. So it's nice to have a family around you and have people that help get you out and pick you up, because you realize you look to your right and you look to your left. Everybody's going through something similar. And you could talk to the people around you and they'll help you with whatever the case may be, if you need to be motivated, if you need help. And that's what's so great about the Adelphi community here and what we're building. Yeah. And it's so important to keep up and active with it.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that I'm very grateful to have such a great support system with the track and field team. It's a team that has both men, women of all different sorts of backgrounds, and we all kind of come together to accomplish a similar goal. Even though track and field tends to be seen as an individual sport, everyone has their own certain goals and things they want to accomplish. We all can come together and realize that we're all trying to accomplish similar goals. We're all trying to be faster, jump farther, throw farther, and that having people I can talk to, people I can rely on, and having such a great support system around me. So I know that I'm coming into a meet knowing that everyone else is just as nervous, but I know that everyone else worked just as hard as me, and that I can talk to them, and we can all support each other, we can all motivate each other, and we can all cheer each other on. So especially having that great support system, having people around you to really keep you there mentally is something I'm grateful for, and something that I feel like is a privilege we have as athletes on the team.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I also want to add on because for those of you who don't know, I had like a knee surgery back in January, and I've been dealing a lot with rehabilitation with that surgery and everything after, and a lot of pain, and a lot of kind of feeling that a lot of my worth is in my sport, and not being able to play kind of diminishes your own worth a bit, I think, for a lot of athletes. So I've been working on finding other things also that gives you kind of a value, or you feel like give you a value, like trying to be a good friend, trying to be a good family member, also a bit just doing well at school, or giving your all at every like arena, and also giving your all into rehabilitation, even though you're not actually playing your sport. I think those are important things to kind of give yourself more of a self-worth, or a feeling of self-worth.
And you guys touched on support, which goes perfectly into like my next topic. How important is, I'll just talk about the coach and athlete relationship for now. How important is that? How important is your relationship with your coach, and how can that affect your athletic performance?
I think the coach to athlete relationship is probably one of the most important relationships, just because your coach has so much to do with your athletic, like how you perform sometimes, because you hear so many stories of athletes getting performance anxiety because they're afraid that their coach is going to yell at them, or what their coach is going to say if I mess up. And you see it in athletes, and this also leads to burnout, because athletes don't like the sport anymore. They're like, why am I going to go to practice just to get yelled at? Why am I going to practice just to hear from my coach? Like, I can't do anything right. So I think that it's really important to find, like we said, support within each other and turn to each other, because your coach is also there as, like, I know my coach on the softball team says that she's our boss, and to look at her like our boss, and that like we report for her, we basically work for her, and we perform for her. So I know, like, speaking from personal experience, kind of leaning on the people next to me and coming together, and knowing that even if I do mess up, to get the next one and have a short leash, forget about it, short memory, because if I keep holding on to that, it's just going to snowball. And that happened a lot my freshman year. So I can speak from experience that I used to hold on to things so much, and I always wanted to impress her. And then as I got older and kind of matured more, I realized that to start doing it not for my coach, but also do it for the girls around me. And since softball is such a team aspect of a sport, to do it for the girls literally standing to my left and my right. And that it's also not all about me, and that if I'm not having my best day, to also lean on my teammates.
I think that coaches are beyond important, and having a good relationship with your coach is beyond important to any sport or any outlet. Even teachers to students, it's the same type of thing, to have a good relationship. In my situation, I grew up here on Long Island. I was close. I had known a lot of people, and I was actually recruited by the old coach of Adelphi. I didn't know the present coach that I have now, Mark Dannon. And I knew before I actually was in college. He was a legendary coach along international swimming. And then when he came here, I was so nervous to actually get a relationship with him and learn what he did and what he's going to do for us and for the team. And other than what Courtney was saying, he came in and he was, rather than being a boss, he acted as almost like a parent, like a swim dad. Everybody was there with Mark, and he was there with us. And he's going through the same things as us. And you're realizing it's not like he's our boss. It's like he's our teammate, that he just has the power to help us get better and better and better. Because he's there at 4 o'clock in the morning every day too. He's there at every single swim meet. He's putting in the same amount of hours as us. And it helps us empathize as well as him empathize with us about what, and he knows how much work we're putting into it, and we know how much work he's putting into us. And once you can foster that relationship with a coach and be on the same page, the possibilities are limitless. Because when you could actually be there with your coach and they're there for you and with you, it changes everything. And it makes you happy when you get up to race, you get up to play, and you look at your coach, and they're just as excited for you as you are for what you're doing. Changes everything. It puts you in a different, better mental state. It's beyond important, I think.
I 100% agree with you, Frank. I'm from North Carolina, right? So when I got recruited to run here, I knew nobody. All I knew was the coach who recruited me. So on my first day of practice, I come in, I'm scared. But having that coach there to calm my nerves, telling me that everything is going to be okay, like he has a plan for me, like it made me feel safe. It made me feel safe and know that I was in the right place. Like you said, like the coach turns from coach to a father figure, like a family member, and when that relationship turns there, it feels good. And like you said, when you look at your coach in the crowd and they're just as excited as you are, that feels amazing. Because like I said about the nerves, all those nerves are gone. Now I'm excited to run. I'm excited. Oh, I'm about to kill this race. I know I got this in the bag. So yeah, I 100% agree with you, Greg.
Yeah. Just to add on just a little bit, I can say Coach Katie's in the room. No, Coach. Her, Coach Kelvin, after races, if they're you did a great job, give me a little fist bump. I mean, we all know Kelvin, he don't really do too much, but when he does his little fist bump or something like that, it does feel good. You feel like it's not even just validation. It's just I'm glad you see me. I'm glad you see the hard work that I'm putting in, and everything you guys said, I 100% agree with. But we're starting to wrap this up. But before we leave off support, if I was somebody outside of Adelphi, an incoming freshman, and I needed help, are there any resources here at Adelphi for somebody looking for that, for someone looking for help when it comes down to their mental or anything like that? Anyone wants to?
Yeah, so we have a sports psychologist. Her name is Toby Langsam, and she was part-time before, but she's now full-time, which is a good step. And you can reach out to her. We have flyers posted all over the CRS, by Eugene's store, in the training room, in the CRS lobby, by Toby's office, which is in Woodruff, if you don't know where that is. If you want her email, you can reach out to me, or like I said, it's posted above. Also, Morgan's Message is a pretty good outlet. We have guest speakers come. We actually just had a guest speaker. Her name is Coach K. She's from Game Changers. If you haven't heard about it, I would look it up. It's actually really cool. She came in, probably one of the best guest speakers I've ever heard. And it was cool to see her perspective. So I think that's kind of the main thing. Come to a meeting. You don't have to just feel it out, see what it's about. And yeah.
Thanks. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. But before we leave, I would like each of you to tell us a little bit about your team, what's going on, upcoming games, how we feeling, that type of thing. So we can start with Amari.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So track team, obviously. I'm feeling real good about this year. I'm not even gonna lie. We have so much talent, and the influx of people that came in this year. Every day I practice, I'm like, wow. We got so close, both men and women last year, outdoor spring, to winning conferences, and I'm like, wow. This is really it's within reach, and I'm really proud of our team and how we've done so far in practice. Our first meet is the first weekend of December. Yeah, we really don't start competing until next year, but right now it's looking really, really good. So yeah.
Okay, and I'm on softball, like I said. We are actually just wrapping up our fall season. Our last game got canceled, which is kind of unfortunate, but wrapping that up, we kick off our actual season in the spring, and we start off in California, which is really cool. We'll go to we take 2 trips, California and then Florida. Right now, we're definitely a work in progress, but I'm excited to see where it takes us throughout the rest of the fall, and we have a lot of talent. I think we're going to be good this year. I don't want to brag, but I think we're going to be pretty good this year. And I'm excited to see where the season takes us, because we're coming off of a very good year. We made it to the Super Regionals. So I'm excited to kind of take off where we left off and have a good season.
Yeah. As for swimming and diving, both on the men and women's side, we had a crazy influx of recruits this year. When I first came here, we maybe had 10, 12 guys on the men's team. Now we're looking at a team of 25, almost 30. And it's absolutely electric. It's been great seeing everybody get together and put in the work and the hours, especially in swimming, which is a long, tolling season. We started the first day of school, and we're not going to end until hopefully we have our NCAA dreams coming out on hopefully March. And these freshmen, these sophomores, everybody's been putting in so much work. We look remarkable. And it's looking like it's going to be an undefeated season. We have our first meet tomorrow at CSI. We'll get back to you, let you know how we do. But things are looking bright. Thanks, guys.
For tennis, we just became regular season champions, so that's good.
Yeah.
We have playoffs tomorrow, semifinals, which we are very excited for. It's going to be home, but it's going to rain, so it's going to be on Points Up, but it's a home game. And then hopefully we'll have the final on Sunday without jinxing anything. So that's how we are. That's where we are.
Good luck.
And then also being on the track and field team, I have lots of high hopes, and we're looking really great this year. Coming as a freshman, I obviously have my freshman group. So as a junior, seeing the progression within just my class is phenomenal. Seeing everybody become much faster, much stronger, more focused as we progress. I can see that every day I practice. I can see my teammates progressing. I can see my teammates develop into like the best athletes they could become. And then seeing freshmen come in, these talented freshmen that kind of just step in and know what they're doing, and then obviously always need some sort of help and some like backbone from us. But seeing us kind of at practice every day, help each other out, and then seeing the progression of all of us together is something I really look forward to. I think we're all gonna really kind of exceed our expectations this year.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's a wrap. But first, before you all leave, I just want to thank Chitani, Weston, Joseph for helping me make this possible. I really appreciate you guys. Ian, Emily Durko, Jess Roki, kind of helping me, guiding me to structure this whole thing. I really appreciate it. My fellow SAC board, thank you guys for being here, helping out. And audience, thank you guys for coming out, supporting this as well. And thank you, and have a good night.